But so yeah, the level, the math was not really. It was a refresher, just reminding myself of what it was I needed to study and know for it. And then the vocabulary was a huge thing for me. I learned a lot of vocabulary, or what I thought was, and I studied what I thought was a good amount. But I could have done more, and I could have learned more. So that was I would suggest, if you didn't read growing up and you don't feel like your vocabulary is where it needs to be, study your vocabulary, and you should be okay.
Now, what are the minutes next to that?
The what? I'm sorry?
Oh,
I'm sorry. So that's kind of a breakdown of like the quantitative section on the GRE is 45 minutes long, and there's 30 questions. And then the verbal is 30 minutes and 30 questions. And then the writing component, you have 30 minutes for one essay, and then 45 minutes for the other. And then there's more specifics on that as far as the types of questions that are in there. There's lots of GRE books out there that kind of break down what the content, like what types of questions are in there, and tricks to answer the questions. They're actually really helpful. I took a course, and then Zach just used the books from the course, and the books is probably the way to go.
I think so.
The course was kind of expensive, and then you can really teach yourself the same things out of the book. So I definitely recommend.
But it's a lot of time studying.
It is
Can't
a lot of
underestimate
time. You have to be very,
how long
very diligent
you should
and
spend studying for the
committed
GRE. Because
as much as you hate it.
Yeah.
Because it isn't very much fun.
Good for them to hear. We actually have in our program a GRE prep course for our students that helps them.
Awesome.
And we also have a big stack of vocab cards that we give them. In fact,
we've got a big stack of
Oh yeah, anybody want some vocab cards on that?
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Homemade ones.
Well, we have a big box of them, and Amber just took the test, and she said some of those vocab cards that she studied were actually on the test.
Great.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys are doing great in that area. And then I've heard people say the application process is more onerous than the coursework from a variety of different people and a variety of different programs. And that has been true for me. So I think there's this assumption that people that are in grad school, if you made it to grad school, then you're there to learn, right? So they assume that you're a hard worker and you want to learn and you want to know what's going on. So they kind of trust you to kind of do what you're going to do in academia. And I don't know if that rings true for you or. So anyhow, that was definitely the case for me. And then I was just briefly some of the things that you can do with the degree. Traditional HR functions like training, org development, selection, leadership, and then internal and external consulting on those things, either within a company, so you would work for one company and consult them on different ways to improve those processes. Or you would work as an external consultant either for yourself or for a firm, depending on who the clients that are hiring you. And then teach. And then I just put some websites there, Amber, for you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with PSYOP or APA Division 13, but I'm very active in APA Division 13 and CIOP, and they're both Chicago Industrial Organizational Psychologists. But if you move here, then it'll be relevant to you. But Division 13 is really great if you're interested in consulting. I would recommend getting involved with them. And then the PsyD versus PhD, just some things that, PhDs typically offer more financial assistance, and but they're a lot more selective, and in the amount of people that they take in because they're paying for your degree. Whereas a PsyD is kind of like you're going to be paying for your degree, so. And there's less of them. So that's just some kind of information for the psychology doctorate point of view.
You said you're going to
I'm in a psych program. Yeah, and also something that's not on here. The professors, they do work in the field and they give you real life experiences that they draw from, and they keep you up to speed of what's hip in the field. But on the same token, that can kind of be a bad thing is that they are very much invested in their work, right? I mean, that might be the case for professors in PhD programs too, but they're doing their consulting, and then so they might not have as much time to invest in their students. So that's just kind of a word of warning. You had asked earlier, Robert, is it expensive? Yes. It's expensive. It's definitely expensive. So I would suggest calculate your ROI, and that's something we use in business, right? Return on investment. So review the salaries in your field, and kind of Robert had mentioned what they say about your field, like how in the future is there going to be a need, you know? So you look at that very carefully, and hopefully what you're interested in will, you know, have a good ROI. But if it doesn't, then, you know, Robert was asking, what if you choose, you know, this degree is really expensive, but it's something that I really want to do. Well, you just figure out a way to make it work. And there's scholarships out there. You just have to work harder to apply for them and look for them. And yeah. So, a lot of scholarships available, more loans. They're happy to lend you, you know, lots of money to go to grad school, but they're not so happy to give it away for free. And then my conclusion is just don't listen to me. Discover what's right for you. These are just things that I especially, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but not to their own, you know, but not their own facts. So I can tell you what my experiences have been and what's been true for me, but that might not necessarily be the case for you. So anyway.
That's good stuff. Go ahead.
Thanks. And then Q&A.
Hey,
If you have any questions.
Good job.